Racists are horrible people. Yes, this is an anime video, but it's also Lord Nuxenor's anime video. So I'm gonna start with a very on-topic line, and you'll soon see why. A racist is someone who stereotypes things based on preconceived and very often ill-conceived notions of any given race. Racism sucks. This is not an opinion, it is in fact a fact, and it is not one that I came up with myself. I mean, I deserve a lot of credit here for spreading the message, but yeah, not all the credit. So now that we've come to the conclusion that racism is bad because you can't judge a book by its cover, saying that all isekai anime suck, yes, this is the metaphor here, is in fact racist. To a much lesser degree, of course. Racism is not a joke and definitely should not be made a joke. But that said, come on, the metaphor was funny. Will I get in trouble for this? Probably. Is it worth it? Well, only time will tell, but I hope so, because I'm sorry, I think it's funny. This season, the fall season of 2019, has a lot of new anime, a lot of really good ones. We got stuff like Beastars, it's very exciting. Sequels to My Hero Academia, 7 Deadly Sins, Food Wars, Psycho-Pass. Goddamn, we have cool stuff happening. And in the plethora of new series, of course, we also have some garbage ones, and we have 4, count them, 4 isekai anime. You know, that little known thing that only started popping up after Sword Art Online, with characters getting trapped in another world and oh my god, now they're overpowered and stuff. Well, we have 4 of those this season. I personally think it's hilarious that it managed to parasitically take over the anime community. The anime community does not have my level of meta humor, so most people are upset about it. Do I care? Yes, in fact, I'm happy that they're upset about something so useless. I'm a terrible human being, but at least I'm humble. That's a quote no humble person ever said. Anyway, a lot of people throw isekai anime under the bus these days. Sometimes literally. And it's sad. Isekai almost became genre level as far as popularity. And yes, most action anime also suck. Most romance anime also suck. Most comedy anime also suck. But isekai every once in a while has a real gem. You got your Konosuba. You got your ReZero. You got your Log Horizon. You got your No Game No Life. Some really good, pivotal, genre-defining anime that I think are incredible. Of course, Digimon is the best isekai, and that goes without saying. But today, I didn't want to talk about what my favorite isekai is, what the best isekai is, what the darkest isekai is, or what the funniest isekai is. I have come here before you today to talk about the biggest flexes in isekai anime. And yes, it is all thanks to one of the most beautiful isekai anime I have ever laid eyes on. And it is an isekai anime that started this very year. In fact, it started this very season. This season with 4 isekai anime that no one talks about because there's so many isekai and they're all stupid and generic, has introduced one of the greatest contenders in the medium and the biggest flexer in the medium. And today I am talking about Shinchou Yuusha, the overly cautious hero. I am so happy to do this. I know there's no hype surrounding the series because no one likes isekai anymore because people have no taste. So I know I'm not gonna get massive traffic on this bad boy of a video, but I started this whole goddamn channel to talk about things I love, and that's just what I'm gonna do whether you like it or not. Suck it, boy! Overly Cautious Hero is a tale like literally every other isekai anime, and that's what makes it so good. Just give it a second. I'm so excited to talk about this. Next time you hear people tell you, oh, anime YouTubers aren't passionate about what they talk about anymore. Not trying to flex or anything, but that's bullshit. As we know, in isekai anime, for the most part, there's this nice happy fantasy world that operates like an RPG game, and all of a sudden, uh-oh, the Demon Lord is taking over. So it's up to the legendary hero who is happenstancely overpowered and manages to amass a harem of women to defeat the Demon Lord, bring salvation to the universe. And the series probably won't end like every other isekai anime that just ends up somehow getting stuck in its episode mill, doesn't get a proper ending, but does get a proper harem. And how can we just choose one, right? Hashtag polygamy for the... No, that's not the message I'm trying to push in this video. Take that back. Overly Cautious Hero is much like any other isekai in this very same extent, and he flexes constantly. I will be talking about like 10 separate flexes in this video, and I'm so happy because this is an anime that no one I've spoken to heard of. Although all the people I've recommended it to personally have enjoyed it. A friend of mine recommended it to me. There's no way I would have even found this. So this time, we are focusing from the perspective of the goddess. If you don't know the goddess role in isekai anime, another word trapped in another world anime, the goddess role is the one that summons the hero to this new world in order to be overpowered and stuff. So normally we follow the hero. You know, you see his life in Japan, you see him as some normal otaku otaku kid, probably with a fantasy. All of a sudden, blammo, gets summoned to another world. He's crazy overpowered. He was summoned by the goddess, tries to save the realm and stuff. But this time, we're following the goddess. The goddess is like, okay, I must summon a hero to protect this and this dimension. So she's looking through a ton of random heroes that she could suck out of Japan life, and all of a sudden she finds this one guy named Seiya. And Seiya is such a mad lad, his stats, even at level 1, far surpass every other possible hero. And of course, Goddess Whammon is super excited, like, damn, this is gonna be so easy saving the world, because like, most people start with total noob heroes, and this guy as a noob is stronger than like really powerful heroes. Damn, he's OP even stat-wise before he's introduced. So she happily introduces him, and he proceeds to flex on her for the entirety of the series. I say entirety of the series, but I've only seen 4 episodes, and I will only spoil 2 episodes. That's right, 10 flexes, 2 episodes, and it only gets better. Immediately, by the fact that it's following the perspective as the goddess, it is taking a very interesting role, almost deconstructing the entire isekai genre that we've got to know. Yes, it has the exact same character styles that every other isekai does. You know, overpowered hero, goddess that summoned him, time to save Zawardo. But this time, since we're following the goddess, and we're watching the goddess constantly get cucked by the hero, it's almost a deconstruction of the meme of the isekai genre. When he's first summoned, she says, alright, time to go explore this dangerous world. We'll start at an easy spot, don't worry. That way you could like train on like slimes and garbage monsters, and you could slowly work your way up like literally every RPG and like literally every isekai ever. You know, starting fighting like cabbage. Thank you, Konosuba, for that wonderful example. And move on to slaying massive dragons and Doulahans and whatever. So of course, the overly cautious hero says, are you crazy? Do you honestly expect me to venture into this fantasy world where I can be killed by slimes and stuff?
せめて入念な準備をさせてもらう。俺が納得するまでだ。
なんなのこの勇者。
Nuh-uh, Goddess Whammon. Instead, I will sit right here and raise my level enough so that I don't need to be afraid of anything. And Goddess Whammon's like, no, that's not how this works. You're supposed to go in there and train. And he's like, nope, you will bring me food to this room every day and leave it outside. You will also have this bell thing that I will ring if I ever want your assistance or if I want to travel into this alternate world. You will leave me absolutely alone to train in order to raise my level enough to not be afraid of running into anything. The overly cautious hero is one of my goddamn favorite characters of all time. Because, as you know, I pride myself as a massive coward. Not a coward in the bad way, of course. No, a coward in the best way possible. In the words of Joseph Joestar, Nigurendayo! That's right, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Run from danger to live another day. Don't let society's pressure saying, oh, you're a coward, you have to push forward, and then you'll feel bad about being a coward and be brave. Nuh-uh, you're too cowardly to be a coward. Being a coward is the ultimate epitome of badass. And this guy, he's not a coward, he's just overly cautious. It's like next level coward. So mad props to this guy. It is a level to aspire to be. So he's in that room all alone doing squat sit-ups and push-ups for like weeks. And the Goddess Whammon is freaking out. She's supposed to be on some crazy adventure saving a dimension. Meanwhile, the hero that she selected is leveling up at a snail's pace without fighting monsters just by working out. She's sitting there alone in a kitchen looking at a bell, ripping her hair out, getting flexed on by a guy who's literally been flexing for 2 weeks straight. All of a sudden, the bell rings and he's ready to go.
Sexy.
They pop in town, and she's like, well, before you head out into adventure, I will give you money in order to buy, you know, beginning items and armors and stuff. And he's like, okay, sick. You'll pay for it? She's like, yeah, just for the beginning stuff, though. And he's like, okay, sick. He goes into the store. He says, I will require 3 of your best armor. She's like, 3? Why 3? And he's like, well, obviously, 1 to wear, 1 is a spare, and 1 in case I lose my spare. You said you'll pay, right? I will also need like 50 potions and 50 smoke bombs and like a million of everything. Flexing on her, and she's like, yo, you're only gonna be up against slimes. And he's like, well, we could never be too safe. Thank you, overly cautious hero. You are literally my savior and one of my favorite anime characters of all time at this point. That's why when you ever start playing Pokemon, you don't just run into the thick of things. You go into the first patch of grass you can find and you grind there for at least 10 hours. Get your Pokemon to at least level 40 before heading to Route 1. That's my personal philosophy, and I very much appreciate how overly cautious hero represents that. Extremely cool, overly cautious Josh's hero. Extremely cool. So after buying his armors and stuff, and she has like no money, mind you, when she offered him food before, he was like, nah fam, you might have poisoned it. And she's like, I summoned you here to save Zawardo. Why would I poison your food? He's like, I don't know, eat it first. So of course he makes her his guinea pig for, you know, her own food. And then says, well, it may be a slow acting poison, so I will have to wait a few days to make sure you don't die. God, I love this man. When he runs into the first slime, he like, of course, scans it at a far distance, hiding behind a rock, and has this whole internal monologue coming up with crazy strategies how to approach the slime in the most effective way possible. And she's like, dude, I saw your level. You managed to get to level 21 by push-ups alone. Bro, it's a slime. You can kill it with like a nothing. And he's like, no, I must calculate first. And after his calculations, he decides to attack it. Of course, it dies in one hit. And then he says to Goddess Woman, stand back. I will now make sure it will never regenerate by annihilating every last atom of the slime. And he proceeds to unleash high-level attack after high-level attack upon nothing because the slime's dead. But he stands there for a good solid several hours, probably, just unleashing his entire arsenal of spells, using up all of his MP, drinking all the potions that he bought in the store in order to restore his MP to continue blasting until he was sure that the slime would not, in fact, regenerate. And Goddess Woman at this point is totally losing it. He's been flexing on her unintentionally this entire time. Dude, it's sheer awesomeness. It's the Goddess Woman's fault for not seeing the awesomeness for what it actually is. And then, even though he's in, like, the beginning route, he meets one of the four, like, strongest demon general women. And Goddess Woman's, like, freaking out. Why is a general demon over here right in the beginning? And General Demon's like, well, I know that if a hero would be summoned here to save this entire universe, I would have to position myself here, since the hero would probably be at a weak town. And since he'd be at a weak town, attempting to fight weak monsters, he would never expect to run into me. My stats are even higher than that level 21 hero over there. And she's like, oh damn, I don't know what we're gonna do. It's a good thing he did push-ups, but he still doesn't stand a chance against Demon Woman. Then she turns to the hero to ask for his advice, and he's not there because he's already running away. That's right, man of culture right here. He's not a coward, he's just a badass with extra steps. Live to fight another day, my friend. But the flex here is he just left Goddess Woman there. Of course, she gets all pissy and starts yelling at him afterwards, and he's like, you're a goddess, and you make me treat you with respect. If I treat you with respect, then you obviously won't die. She wasn't very happy with this philosophy, but, you know, I was, so I don't really care. He eventually convinces Goddess Woman to transport him back to the world of goddesses so he can do more push-ups before facing Demon Woman, and makes her sit again, alone, staring at an alarm clock for like days on end, losing her mind. And when he actually goes back to fight Demon Woman, this fight is truly everything that I would hope for in an anime battle. When you think of the greatest anime battles of all time, you're probably thinking of crazy strategies flying back and forth, and that's exactly what went on here. This was like Goku versus Frieza, but for intellectuals. Turns out Demon Woman had another form, and another form on top of that. She was hiding her true power because she knew, because she was cautious. She knew that the hero dude would see she was stronger, so he would run away to train to be a little stronger, but she would still be even stronger because she had another form that she was hiding. But what's even better is she had a third form in case he was hiding his second form. Okay, come on. This is peak brilliance right here. Goddess Woman's, by the way, losing her absolute shite. What the hell is going on? Of course, Hero Guy actually managed to be victorious relatively easily, and that's because aside from the fact that the first time he was level 21 and the second time he's level 35, he also used a spell on himself the first time that even Goddess Woman wouldn't know that he was actually way stronger than he made believe he was. He tricked Goddess Woman, and when Goddess Woman says, like, we're allies, why would you flex on me by not telling me your true power? He says, well, what if we fought against mind-reading monsters? And well, my mind is perfectly impossible to be penetrated because I'm far too awesome. But you probably suck since you're relying on me to do the dirty work. So if they read your mind and see that I'm bluffing with my levels, then they would come up with counter strategies, but this way I can spring it on them. This guy thinks ahead, you know what I'm saying? It's like chess masters at work. This is Isekai Death Note right here. But the only thing that actually starts pissing off Goddess Woman, even though he won the fight, is that the first time he ran into Demon Woman, he was in fact stronger than Demon Woman. He was just hiding his level to make believe he was weaker, but in actuality he was stronger. But he still ran away in case Demon Woman had another form. Come Come on, you can't make this up. Well, someone did, but goddamn, it's genius. Of course, then he goes to Demon Whammon's corpse, which is already dust, and proceeds to, give it the slime treatment, as it were, and they were battling in town. So by the time he finishes completely vaporizing any possible remaining atom from Demon General Whammon, he also took the whole town with it. The villagers start off praising him like, oh, you've saved us, you defeated Demon General Whammon. And without even like a second word, he proceeds to blow up their entire village to make sure she won't regenerate. Because if she does, you never know, maybe she has another form. Flexing on their expectations, flexing on Goddess Whammon again. And then when Goddess Whammon says, well, you're obviously strong enough to defeat one of the 4 generals of the Demon King, we have nothing to worry about now. It's true we got off to a rocky start, that was very boring for me, but this adventure going forward will only be awesomeness. And of course, Seiya says, yeah, I'm sure, but before that, you want to open a portal back to Godly Town? I would like to do more push-ups and sit-ups. And she's like, Nani? Why? You're stronger than the second strongest demon in the entire dimension, and the Demon King doesn't leave his castle. Why would you go back? And he's like, well, because since they've heard that I actually managed to defeat one of the demon generals, next time I may be attacked by all the demon generals at the same time. I must go back to resume my training. So he goes back, gives her the bell, and blammo, that is approximately where episode 2 ends, minus many flexes along the way that I didn't get the chance to talk about because I'm not trying to tell you every detail of this show. I'm just trying to give you the meat and potatoes, as it were, to whet your palate to check it out. Overly Cautious Hero is the greatest isekai anime since Konosuba. It is positively hilarious, and it's even more than that. It wouldn't be as funny as it is if it wasn't also a thesis on what makes an isekai anime altogether. Isekai anime, at least the generic ones, are generally taken from a standpoint where this is the ultimate fantasy. We all play RPGs, we all like leveling up, defeating monsters, and becoming heroes, so too we get to watch, almost as an escapist fantasy, some other guy get stuck in some other game and manage to grind and level up and defeat monsters and become a hero. He'll do it through challenges and hardships, and that's what makes everything worth so much more. Anything that you accomplished through hardships and through hard work feels so much more dear to you than something that was handed to you on a silver platter. In isekai anime, you get certain characters like Toya from Toya Smartphone that starts off so overpowered, there is no satisfaction from anything he does. I don't feel good when Toya manages to wipe out an entire army with one spell. It just doesn't hype me up because he's not the guy that worked hard to get to that point. His accomplishment is not as grandiose as it seems based on the low levels of effort he outputted. And it's the opposite for most others. The ideal of a shonen anime is this character who trained so hard from nothing and became something. So when they actually win a fight, it is the ultimate euphoria of overcoming your hurdles and becoming something out of nothing. The absolute slap in the face, though, is Overly Cautious Hero. Overly Cautious Hero is taking this to an entire other standpoint. It's true that it feels amazing to work extremely hard and go through like 14 billion near-death experiences in order to finally become a true hero, a true savior that we can all look up on. Yeah, Overly Cautious Hero laughs in the face at all that. Because why would you do that? If this is really life and death, then you bet your bottom dollar that I'm gonna be grinding my ass off. And what's more is, he's not trying to put himself in difficult positions, just like most other people aren't trying to. They just revel in it and grow in it, and it's easy to avoid most of them. Cowardice is freaking badass sometimes. I mean, that's not exactly the dictionary's definition of cowardice, it just happens to be a component. And maybe I'm trying to convince myself that it's not so bad to be a pussy. But he makes it clear to Goddess Whammon that I know if I die, I'm just gonna pop back up in my real world. I know that I have no threat to my life doing dangerous things. Even so many other people are relying on me. If I fail, that dimension is in deep trouble. So for that population, I am going to sit up and squat my ass off while you do absolutely nothing and get bored out of your gourd, waiting for me to tell you I am ready to fight a slime. Overly Cautious Hero is so funny because it interprets the entire isekai genre and rationalizes it to such an insane degree that of course he's going to be overly cautious. It's annoying to see because we're always translating isekai worlds into other shows and games that we've played. A game is not fun if it is too easy. If you started Pokemon with a starter that was level 50 and you just proceeded to butt slap every gym leader and trainer you come across without having any issues, that is really dumb and a lame game. Just like a game isn't fun if it's ridiculously hard and you can't pass the first stage, it's also not fun if it's ridiculously easy and you just steamroll the entire game. Overly Cautious Hero is telling you it's true that that is your ideal, and it's true that that's what a a fun anime should be, but nah fam, I'm the overly rational hero. These people's lives depend on me, and this isn't an adventure for you. I am going to squat and sit up and disintegrate this slime past the level of dust, if that's what it takes to goddamn succeed. And while doing that, I am gonna flex as hard as I can on Goddess Whammon, who doesn't seem to get that this is real life. Goddess Whammon is perfect. Aside from the amazing personality they gave her, and the amazing expressions that she has for the entirety of the show so far. And I mean that linguistically as well as facial expressions. And as well as her insane exasperation. That's exactly what any person watching Overly Cautious Hero would feel like if it wasn't for her emulating those emotions. Imagine watching a show where the hero just grinds and then proceeds to slap everyone. It would be horrible. I would be in the exact same position and mindset as Goddess Whammon. So watching that is a perfect interpretation of how boring a game would be if someone just grinded until he was too overpowered. This anime is perfect. Not perfect as in it's a 10 out of 10 show, everyone needs to watch it, everyone will enjoy it. It's perfect in what it's trying to do and what it's trying to convey. Yes, the flexes are fun, the comedy is amazing, and Overly Cautious Hero's lack of personality is so perfect in so many scenes, I can hardly tell you. But on a meta level, it's telling you exactly what should be done if you were trapped in another world, and exactly what you would be doing if you saw someone doing what he should be doing if he was trapped in another world. Point is, don't be racist. Racism is bad. Hashtag stop racism. Also, being a cowardly, cautious douchebag is sometimes freaking badass. Go watch Overly Cautious Hero. Like and subscribe. Link in the description to my Twitter, Twitch, Patreon, subreddit, and merch. Have yourselves a most wonderful evening. And remember to get flexed on next time.